Can everyone hear? Yes? Yeah, good. All right, well, welcome. Um, I want to go over that thing. I think Kerry made it up, but supposedly it was this meeting about last week about taking 5 minutes 3 times a day to sit in the presence. Yes? So I'm not saying anything right or wrong, but in this dualistic expression that we represent, if you feel like you're taking 5 minutes to sit in the presence, you're basically, the head is implying that 23 hours and 55 minutes you're out of the presence. So 5 minutes ain't going to do nothing against that 23-hour 55 minutes. Yeah. It's the beautiful part of the message is you are what you're looking for. So you sitting in the presence is an appearance in presence. You seemingly out of the presence is an appearance in presence. You cannot escape the presence, and you cannot escape uh, this idea of being the appearance. Yes, the appearance cannot get out of the appearance. You cannot transcend an imaginary place. Yeah, you can't get out of what you're not in, and you can't get into what you're not out of. If you keep trying to get into what you're not out of, you're going to give relevance or reality to out. Yeah? This is duality. And non-duality isn't like, it's best to be seen on the micro level, like where we are right now. So just like it happened when I was young, my father got very ill when I was 6 or something. Things were going to change in my relationship to him. My mother knew stuff was going to happen, so she sat me down. They brought in the family doctor. He explained it to me. But the way I heard it was, what did I do to cause my father not to want to play with me? Yes? So when I feel I'm finally sitting in the presence, I feel I've been out of it for 23 hours and 55 minutes. Yeah? That's not a good payoff cost ratio. Payoff 5 minutes of feeling I'm in the presence, cost 23 hours, 55 minutes. I don't feel like I'm in the presence. Times 7, times 12, times years. By the time you look at how much have you dwelled in the presence and how much did you believe you were dwelling in the non-presence, it's gargantuan difference. Yes? I mean, this is the dilemma. This is what non-duality is questioning. When we move towards something, we may be moving away from something. And if that something that we're moving away from isn't real, the moving away from it gives it a reality. Yeah? Why is that? It doesn't have any meaning other than what we give it. Yeah? So if you believe you're out of the moment, it's going to cause maybe a huge desire to get into the moment, which would be cool if you were out of the moment. But this is the premise. Are you out of any moment? Tell me here you're walking to whatever that comfortable chair is, out of the presence, out of the presence, out of the presence, and then suddenly you're in the presence? Do you feel like, in the horror movies when the demon is shown up, it's cold, in the room. You walk in, ooh, it's cold. You sort of can tell. That's one of the indications. What's the indication when you've left being out of the moment and you've entered being in the moment? And what movement can cause you to feel you were in the moment, but then left the moment? Where is the proof of that? Is there like an imaginary line drawn? You cross over, I'm in the presence. Then a thought happens and you're disqualified. You're out of the presence. Don't you see the presence is more context? It allows the in and out, the connected, the disconnected, the experiential joy or the experiential depression. It allows all of that activity, an act and a react, a this and a that, a dualistic movement of like low tide, high tide. But the ocean, yeah, the does the ocean lose itself in low tide and then regain itself in high tide? Does the sky become more sky when the clouds leave it and become less sky when the clouds appear in it? She says, is there a quota that it's sky, sky, sky until the 12th cloud appears, then it's cloud. Now it's cloudy. Who comes up with that? Does the sky inform us of it? I'm full of clouds. No, it's just empty space. Yes, brilliant, allowing stuff to move through, never really affected by any of it. Yeah. Okay. I can only be sky if certain conditions are met. I don't see that. Yeah. I can't have any 4th of July explosions. That's the one day I'm not sky. That's when I get ripped open, ripped apart. I have a big gaping hole. I got to get a sky bandage. No. Yes. Shit happens all the time. Planes collide. They do this. They never call the terminal, I ran into a big chunk of sky. Yeah, without it, where would there be any traveling? You'd be running into shit all day. You know what I mean? Could you imagine a plane, a big airliner going down Highway 101 where I live? Especially at, traffic time, forget about it. It would be running into tons of shit. Yeah? But above, nothing. Yeah? Maybe some turbulence. Yeah. Now, what's there when you're out of presence? You, Zoe, yeah? What's there when you're in presence? You, Zoe. So basically, you're more constant than presence is. Maybe, just maybe, you're the presence, really. Yeah. You're at both events, aren't you? Cloudy day, there you are. It's like find Waldo. There's always Zoe. Yeah. At the retreat, Zoe. Yeah. Going through a terrible emotional hangover, Zoe. Yeah. Wishing not to have the hangover, seemingly Zoe. Enjoying when it goes, Zoe. Yeah. Zoe left the moment. Zoe returned to the moment. I would say Zoe is bigger than the moment then, eh? Maybe the moment is in Zoe instead of Zoe in the moment. Maybe the moment is present. The moment, the presence is Zoe instead of Zoe seeking the presence. Yeah. I think a great Zen master captures it in a similar manner. It says you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Yeah. Implying that you are the Buddha, obviously. Yeah. Hold on a second. The cat, the master wants in. It's taken her 5 years to actually have a meow. That was the first meow I've ever heard her do. It's going to be a terrible era now. She usually sounds like a bird. Suddenly that was a perfectly pronounced meow, which is heralding wakeless nights. Yes. I'll be present for it. Hmm? I've been present when I didn't want to be present. Right? When the judge said, "Is Paul Hedderman present?" I didn't want to be present, but yes, sir, I'm present. Yeah. Were you present at that crime? Yes, I was. Yeah. I didn't feel like I was there, but you were there. It's on the cameras. The surveillance cameras have you. But I really felt I wasn't in that room, but you were in the room. Yeah. This is like if there was a 24-hour presence, little like uh, GoPro or something, you'd be present all day. You never missed anything. This is the simplicity of it. Then add on what you want, you know? Do you want to get clearer if you feel like you have a foggy mind? A lot of people go on retreats just to meet people. Really. Yeah. When I went to see a spiritual guru, you know, I everyone was saying the guru has so much power. I felt it was the accumulation of 2,000 people with him as one of them. That was the juice. Yeah. Who knows? But whatever. But at least you could travel later through it, yes? Have you ever seen a serious spiritual seeker? Wow. They got that stick up the ass. It's a tough one. Yeah. They sit down slowly basically because of that stick up the ass. You got to be careful. If they sat down quickly, yeah. It's you know how serious this used to take it? I'd have a beautiful girl wanting to go horizontal with me while I was practicing. No, I have no time for that. I've got to finish this set of Tai Chi. Jesus Christ. That's like, and you know, Tai Chi is about yielding and being flexible. And I was in a complete rigid mentality. No. Yeah. Love was knocking on the door. No, I have no time for that. I'm working to get to have time for that. Yeah, what an insane thing. I'm working to earn the invitation that's at hand right now. Yeah. I don't deserve it yet. What's playing God there? The head, isn't it? Didn't you ever feel like something was being withheld and it's sort of like you had I don't know what, some kind of parental permission needed to be gotten? Yes? This whole idea, remember how you used to work like a hard job, and then because you worked a hard job, you deserve to get loaded. You know, it was like a freaking just you could have gotten loaded without the job. You're gonna and when you get loaded, you'll probably lose the job. But you know what I mean? There's this like sort of nothing can be. It always has to be somewhat earned. But what is that? Isn't that the head playing God? Yes. I never, not once, I can remember, took my mother in my bedroom when I was a kid and asked her, "How am I playing, Mom? Is Wayne doing better than me? I mean, do I need to go to playing school?" No, I seem to come natural. Yes. I didn't have to take courses and shit. This is simple. Yeah, and then make it profound if you want, but this is simple. There's an activity that has seemingly replaced us. It doesn't say you're gonna be what it's talking about. It says you already are. Yeah. So you're already handcuffed by history. It doesn't say, you know, we're gonna become a self today. It says you already are one. Yeah. So that's the starting point. It makes that up. And then we're sort of saddled with that starting point. And everything that comes after it is given meaning from that starting point. And for some of us, it's off. It's a manufactured starting point. We're way before that. Yeah. So from it, you see the game completely different than if you were in the before. And I believe we're of the before. Yeah. So I think it's very important in a way if the action is all about being that which is after, is to see that not as the after, but from before. Yeah. And all it needs is a subtle suggestion, because you're always right now seeing it from the before. We just don't think so. We think we're starting at Paul when we're before it. Yeah. That's the invitation. And I think non-duality, as the way it's hit me, is premised on the idea of being ourselves reality. Is that true or not? Well, I am, but then there's something else that's overridden reality. The only thing that could do that would be reality. Yeah. What could override reality? What? Tell me. Yeah. If reality could be fooled, it wouldn't be reality. Yes. It would be part of the illusory condition. But there's hopefully we're believing there is an anchor here. Yeah. And we're connected as it. Yeah. It's not about accessing a new line of electricity. It's just seeing the plug. Yeah. just and when you see the plug, you're already connected. You're not dangling, waiting. No, you're already locked in. Yeah. But the head just sort of runs on top of that very clear, very calm, placid uh, surface, and just watches all the imprints it leaves on it and gives it a meaning as if it's this chaotic fucking event going on all day. And that you can't be, you have to become, you have to earn. This is meritocracy. There's no fucking free lunch. Yeah. Well, I beg to differ. Inherently, you are what you're looking for. And if you don't believe that, then you're at a different meaning, because that's the premise of non-duality. The seeker is the sought. Don't argue with me. I didn't come up with it. Yeah. If you want to argue, go to whatever. It's all premised on that. That's why you can't experience it. It's not like it's being withheld from you. You can't experience being because you are being. Yeah. You would have to be something else to experience it, and you're not. Yeah. You can't know that which is knowing. You can't. You can't see that which is seeing. You cannot hear that which is hearing. Yeah. Wherever placement you try to place yourself, you're always on one side of the camera as the appearance, and as what we are before, on the other side of the camera. Yes? It's not about the appearance merging in here. No, the appearance is seen as an appearance. Yeah. There's no merging. There's no, I left the Godhead. There's no separation. In fact, we were mistaken because we were looking at it from a false premise. And that's what non-duality is negating. Hopefully, the understanding of non-duality will hopefully negate the misunderstandings that we come from, that we're resting in. There's no one resting. There's just a resting in it. Yes? It gives us a blind eye instead of the eye that sees. Yes? Yes. And then do whatever. Yes? Maybe there's 30 levels of fucking super clear, like, the water industry, really, when people buy tons of bottled water, it's just an insane thing. Can you imagine when they first came out with that? We're going to sell people water. We're going to bottle it and then charge them $4. Tell them it's from some freaking spring from 2,000 years ago. Whatever. Yeah, that's insane, isn't it? It's like that whole Zen thing. We're like men and women standing by the river trying to buy water. Yeah. If someone's there knowing full well we're just drenched, the best thing to do for those people is not give them anything. Yeah? Seriously. So they can come to a different conclusion. If you give them some kind of glass and then they imagine there was water and then a pitcher and then on and on and on, but if you don't give them anything, they're going to be left with their own devices and they see them as not theirs. Yeah? Understanding is not my understanding. Intelligence is not my intelligence. Yeah? The way I perceive things above everything else is not the way I perceive. Yeah? It's like, when does the space guy realize it's in a suit? Yeah? Remember, see those movies when they land on another planet and there's 5 of them and they got those huge helmets and then one gets curious and starts taking it off. The other 4, no, don't take it off. And she takes it off and everything's fine. She can breathe perfectly. Then you would expect the other 4 would take it off, but most of the time they don't. There's still faith in that freaking forecast. Yeah. That demanded you have to have a helmet, even though there's evidence that she's doing quite well. And they probably talk among themselves through the helmet intercom. What an idiot. She's so insane taking off the, yes? While you're sweating, it's super heavy on your head. She takes the whole shit off. This is the message. And then if you want to become a master, fantastic. Yeah. Seriously. If you want to attract CDs and get super clear, whatever, and maybe, be able to raise your temperature when it's cold instead of just using the heater, and then put it down when it's warm, instead of just putting the fan on, far out. Yeah. Yeah. You can hold a loving gaze for 30 minutes straight. You can sit in a room full of people, not say anything, and they all think you're fucking incredible. What a deal. That's a really good. I would love to be a silent teacher. It would be great. Just go around, not do shit. Just sit there. Just let everyone else make up whatever I'm supposed to be. He's so profound. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. But what a gig that would be. I wouldn't have to take cough lozenges, not say a thing, just sit there. I feel such a presence. Well, maybe, yeah, maybe you're projecting the presence that you're sensing onto someone and as if they're giving it back. Yeah. No one has, there's no like, it's not like a dealer. I have some presence. You know what I mean? Smoke this. We're swimming in it. Yeah. We're just not, the attention and interest is going to other affairs. Yeah. The interest and attention has been sort of put in a linear straitjacket. It doesn't see 360 degrees, though it can. It's been funneled through a certain way, a certain programming that's severely limiting its possibilities. Yes? So, yeah. All right. Thanks. I could go on and on today, but I think I've done enough. Yes. You like the chimes? Yeah, they're nice. Yeah. I speak at different groups. For this group, chimes are necessary. Yeah. Incredible. Yes. I have a chime. I have a chime soundtrack. Other groups, it's different. Yeah.
There's a hand up. I don't know how to say their name.
It's Ari,
All right.
I think. Yes? Yes. You can't hear you, Ari. Oh, I think he just shut himself off. Now, if I had that power, which I actually do with my finger, uh, muting seems to be very, very attractive. I think we lost him, Saina. He just completely disappeared. He's
We
gone.
did. We did. If
That's,
anyone has their wants
anyone
to,
else want to try the same thing? You're gonna disappear.
well, let's see. If anyone has a question, raise your virtual hand. Just click reactions on the Zoom toolbar and then raise hand, and we'll see if he'll disappear too.
Oh, reappeared again. We lost him. I can't hear him. Go if anyone else, and then we'll get back to him. Yeah.
The headphones, maybe that's what's not
Oh,
working.
yeah. Now, yeah. The headphones always does it. Yeah. I don't think
Better
you can.
now? I can't hear you though. That's weird.
Well, maybe that's good.
Totally silent. Shit.
Can you
really?
hear me?
Try again.
I think we lost them. Let's.
Apologize. I'm not very good with the Zoom stuff. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah, now I can. Yeah. So I just wanted to report from last week that I totally failed that assignment. I can't seem to get out of presence for more than 30 seconds. And I completely, totally understand and agree with what you're saying tonight. And I feel a lot lighter
Right.
in general. So just wanted to let you know. I appreciate your guidance.
Great.
I
Thank
don't
you.
really have a question right now, but
That's fantastic. Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for that sharing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is it's like a vague lightness that comes in, almost like changing a molecule in the atmosphere. And you start breathing it and you come to recognize stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just sharing basically how it downloaded and reverse engineered in this event. Yeah. Basic. That's all. Duality isn't something like a book study. It's an activity. Yeah. When there's a moving towards, there's a moving away. Yeah. It's almost like a seesaw, but the axis point is this identity. So you go one way, it's implied to be you. You go the other, and it implies to be you. Yes. Yet it's not true. So what moves isn't you. You see the movement, but the movement implies it was you that's now left, that which it can never leave. And then desires to get back start occurring, and they do the exact opposite that you would expect. They reinforce the non-existent thing. They don't relieve it. Yes. Who would have known? That's what Ramana said, I feel, in that being convinced, there's this presupposing of this non-existent thing, which would be the body here. Yeah. And then that's the presupposing is that non-existent thing is what's existing. It's not, it's sort of like the trumpet is playing the music when it's really the note, it's the player and then the wind. Yeah. So presupposing, which means the assumption is pre-assumed. So when there's the assumption or the inference that you're a self, it's presupposed, which is you feel like a historical doer. So when you do something, you feel like you've been doing a lot of things. When you see something, you've seen a lot of things. This isn't natural. This isn't a natural objective response. It's manufactured. Yeah. Yeah. So we call it selfing. And the selfing can be seen because it's not of you. Yeah. You can see it. It's a mental activity. It needs time to go about, to occur. It needs consciousness and contact to bring itself about. And you're there before it. So you can see it. But if you don't see that activity, it's going to imply you're looking from it. Yeah. And then it's going to have a lot of weird, wild ideas that it thinks you have to do to arrive at where you already are, maybe. Yeah, it just gets crazy. It does. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you go out, seems like the thing asked for a ham sandwich, you bring back the ham sandwich. Oh, didn't I? I told you to get the mayonnaise. I didn't hear it. You got to go back. Oh, no, I didn't want mayonnaise as mustard. It's on and on. Yeah. So it just keeps, you're thinking you're hearing what it's saying, but it changes it all the time. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, Deborah
Yes.
has her hand up.
Deborah, yes.
Hi, Paul. I was, it's good to see everybody. I was wondering if you could, uh, kind of set a foundation of, uh, we have a new person here and just, talk about selfing a little bit or, you know, the duality of the good cop and the thief or something. Maybe that would, help. I don't know. But there's a new person here, so I don't know if that I might be
Bring them
speaking out of
out.
turn.
Who is the new person?
It's Virginia.
Virginia, where are they? How are you, Virginia?
I'm I'm amazed, dazed. Yes, I am.
Doesn't need any description. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The descriptions alone can get very confusing. It's a sense that happens when you're getting this smorgasbord dumped on you. That's the thing. So yeah, you're right. You're hearing it perfectly. Yep. So, but just as a, doesn't it really? If you start out from the premise, being ourselves reality, it must trigger a curiosity of how things are taken the way they're taken, yeah, in such a stubborn way against a lot of evidence to the contrary. I found that to be incredibly interesting. How is this going on? How am I walking around on the Monopoly board, always starting at Baltic Place, you know? what's going on? And so hearing satsangs, think that curiosity was illuminated, and a lot of ideas that had life got put into an end. Yeah. And I felt satsang really brought out the misunderstandings I hate to say but the misunderstandings that seem to be the view I see things from, and didn't replace them really with an understanding, just weaken the misunderstandings. And now I started to see I didn't have to have new trees put in their place. I saw through the trees and got the sense of the forest. Yeah. Yeah. And most of the senses that I get, or evidence or information, are downloads about what's not happening, really, about the activity that has us believing, or starting from a believing point of some insane ideas, like this idea of being out of the moment, and then trying all these ways to convince ourselves we're in the moment. Always at the at a very fragile anxiety about being out of the moment again. I mean, just that seen through is incredible, where you realize you're always here, I mean, the greatest building blocks are the fundamental ones, I feel. Yeah. So, yeah. So the mental states movement is the claim. I feel everything is happening. The head is the claiming, the selfing is happening. But in that claiming, it implies, it insinuates, it points at them. There's a noun. So now the doing must be preceded by a doer. The thinking must be preceded by a thinker. To me, this is the bondage of self, really. So, thoughts without a thinker, your day goes a lot easier. Seeing without a seer. And in fact, that's the fact. There is seeing without a seer. But there's no seer without seeing. Yeah. Would you have ever had the thought that you were the thinker without thought? No. But so is the thinker necessary for thought? No. Is thought necessary for the idea of being the thinker? Yes. So things are happening, thinking, feeling, sensing, tasting, touching, doing, not doing. These are going on in this dreaming. The head claims it and creates a character and puts the character before and puts it as the creator when it's actually always being made up by the claiming of actually what's happening. So the seer gets made up from the claiming of the seeing. And now the seer stands alone. And every time they're seeing, it feels like a historical seer. And so the system gets captured and reinforces its premise. Yeah. And a lot of us don't ever leave that box of self-centeredness. Yeah. Satsang can knock on that little box, and where you didn't think there was a door, if you hear that knock, a door appears. And maybe the interest and attention can be let out, and it starts enriching you and illuminating this event. Yeah? Yeah. Like Buddha supposedly said, be a light unto thyself. Well, how are you going to do that if you're relying on flashlights and fucking shit like that? Yeah. Yeah. So I think you're doing fine. Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Paul H.
Paul H. This is what I've been waiting for all these years.
Hey, Paul.
Paul to ask a question of Paul. Get down to the bottom of Paul H.
I've been waiting for years too.
Right.
To have Paul H answer Paul H's question.
All right.
Was there some initial pulse of something that started this dream of Paul H? Paul H?
I don't know. I think it's just I don't think we have a sense of what's always here, so it's a constantly coming to the dreaming. Yes, it's almost like there's nothing, and then you're fully clothed by the wardrobe. Yeah, and then here you go for the day. Yes, and then of course, as they tell us, there's a great reprieve every night in this day and night dreaming. That after you take the wardrobe off, there's another piece of the wardrobe, you, that usually doesn't get taken off, but is taken off then in deep sleep, yes? Then seems like you're up. There's still 4 walls, not 8. There's still a ceiling, not a giant gaping hole. Yeah. There's a lot of experiences go on during the day. You roll with the punches. And then, yeah.
So in deep sleep, where there's no dreamer dreaming the dream, there's no presence of you or not you. But then in the morning, when you get up, you look in the mirror and the act starts. Would that be another way of formulating what you're saying?
It starts, but it doesn't change anything. But it starts, yes. It doesn't change anything. Yeah.
No, it's just that the stage is set and there goes the day based upon a time-based entity that I think you would call the selfing. No?
Yeah, but see what happens though in this linear story of time, the action figure can learn. It has sentience to some level, and it picks up effects that it can't see itself or anyone else as a cause. Yeah. So it starts getting in touch with some winds that are appearing in the dreaming that aren't blown by people or institutions or fucking mountains or anything like that. So you start feeling uh, something moving you or it's coming through you or others, and it doesn't have an address or a form, and you start having an intimacy of, let's say, a movement in presence. Let's say, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
could you say more what so could you say some more about those winds?
Well, in a way, uh, a lot of times when you have situations, you come into the situation pretty unconscious. So you catch the last 3 or 4 steps of it. Yeah. The wind has blown you all the way to there. And then there's a thinking you did it or you're doing it. And then there's a consequence or a reaction. Yes. But if you actually followed the that experience from conception to end, there was a whole lot of something before you appeared. Yeah. So I would say uh, that's the sort of the wind I'm speaking about. So let's say I had a very strong experience uh, living in a life of addiction and having all the effects and noticing the effects it had on other people, my mom and everything like that. And people who had a lot of love in their lives and directed a lot of it at me wished for me uh, something like being sober. Yeah. Now, in this experiment, no human power could do it. The state couldn't do it for long. They could put me in jail, but it wouldn't. As soon as I got out, I would get loaded. My mother couldn't do it. A lot of things couldn't do it. But then one day something did. Yeah. Now I didn't see anyone come up and do it. I didn't see anyone introduce themselves as James or Mary or a saint or an ascendant master. It was just the wind blew, and then the mental winds that were just continually swirling stopped, and something was revealed to the action figure uh, that I was screwed and I'm not managerial quality. And at that point, in after a while, I realized I had the ability to be convinced. Life convinced me of what no one else could, let's say, and struck me sober. I've been sober and clean 34 years now. Never had a strong feeling or thought about using or drinking ever since. Man, that's a pretty big demonstration on the stage of the action figure. That something did for me what I couldn't do for myself. Yeah. So these winds, I like, you can call them grace or whatever. I think they're blowing all the time. Uh, but as Jesus supposedly said, you can't serve two masters at the same time. Yeah. So you can't throw a sail up to get the south wind and a sail up to get the north wind. You're not going to go anywhere. They're going to just keep colliding. Yeah. So hopefully all of us, we're like the part, those things on those boats. There would be a woman on the front of it, and she's breaking through the waves. That's what the action figure is. Like, you're breaking through the waves of life, and you've noticed through a thick wooden head that you're traveling lighter. Then you can't turn around to see the wind, and you wouldn't see it anyways. You can't see the wind. You can see it by its effects, but you don't need to turn around anymore. You have an intimacy with that of being moved. Yeah. And the currency of the action figure was win, lose, get, lose, gain, fall back. That currency collapsed and it was replaced with a win-win. No matter whatever happened, there's value that can be extracted out of it. Yeah. So people would have the idea of the worst thing that ever happened to them, and then they're sober now for a year or two and they see it now as the best thing that ever happened to them. Yeah. So that's what I feel. I think they captured in the Course in Miracles the idea of the Holy Spirit is premised on an activity that's going to collate the information, which is also being collated by the brain to the body. As it says in the Course, the brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. Yes. So basically, that's the root of self-centered information. Yes. Well, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, which is just a movement, is going to take the same information, but come up with a completely different meaning out of it. The exact same. And that's the beauty. And that's a possibility. Once tasted, opens up a huge door when there are many ways to see what you think you're seeing. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how I could say it now.
Cool. Yeah, I like, it's a great answer. I like the grace idea. And to go back to your Monopoly, so when you got out of jail, right? You get out of jail on Monopoly, and kind of a parody to your joke. You start on Baltic, right? When you get out of jail, you start on Baltic again.
Yeah.
Going on Baltic. Yeah.
Yeah. Sooner or later, the head will try to change the scenery, but after a while, it's the same old, same old. You just start recognizing it because it gets lazy. After 50 laps, it doesn't want to keep, it just says, fuck it. They're not going to get out anyway. So just let them see what's actually happening. They're not going anywhere. They're trying to get out is the biggest in anyway. A lot of people, I feel humbly, I don't feel like it's presented on a massive level of the drive to get out is premised on a belief in a false in, really. So, which would mean the bigger in is the in and out. Yeah, that's the bigger in. That I didn't come to it. Maybe they were talking about it, but I missed it. But I had no idea that I believed humbly that I had left something I'd like to return to. Non-duality put that straight. You never left, so there's no need to return. That saved a lot of time and a lot of effort. Yeah. And that logic that's expressed in that statement has been seamless in my, noticing it or observing it. Yes, it's just, yeah. I can't get out of what I'm not in. It's impossible. Yeah, I just can't. I mean, seriously. So, and very rarely we just assume a lot of stuff, and then all our investigations are based on those assumptions, which very rarely get investigated. They don't. lent to our attempt to find the truth. Yes, yes, yeah. So, I mean, false evidence is going to appear real if you're appearing real as false evidence right now. So, I mean, let's get down to the nitty gritty, so to speak. The duality of right where we are. Yeah, yeah. Thinker, thought, feeler, felt. Yeah, yeah. I feel the the head can sterilize the ideas of duality. It can apply it on like a vast scale, but it's not seeing the duality of activity now. Yeah, which to me is more valuable than knowing it on a massive fucking like a universal duality. I would just like to see the shift from subject object subject object object subject all day. Yeah, because that really hits home and gives a sense feltness about duality. Yeah, yeah. The only thing that would dream of oneness is two-ness. Yeah, there is no oneness or two. It's only there because of two-ness. It's zero. There's no zero. Yeah, yeah. It's not like one without another. It's nothing. Yeah. I mean, meaning it could be tons of stuff, but we don't have the ability to decipher that, to understand it, to grok it. So best to leave it in the mystery category. So then stuff is revelatory. You find out, uh, that a pretzel could be twisted in a lot of different ways. Yeah. That a rope that has tons of knots of nooses can be used for different things, not just to hang yourself. It's just like that. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily there doesn't have to be a breaking down of self-centeredness. The self-centeredness continue. It's just the interest and attention that magnifies it is taken out. Yeah. So now the myopic view can appear in the panoramic view. Yeah. When it's all about the myopic view, it has to deny the panoramic view. Yeah. So it mimics, I really love the panoramic view as the myopic view, which is not a panoramic view. So yeah. All right. Thanks, Paul H. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, we only have like a couple minutes left, like
That's right.
3 or 4. So if you want to
Paul
say
H.
goodbye.
I know Paul H. rambles a lot, so I cut myself off. Yeah. Yes. All right. What do we have to do, Sina, in these couple of minutes?
Oh, would you say goodbye as usual? I think people love that.
Well, yes. Well, I already said goodbye to Paul H. So we got Sina. Always does a great job, Sina. You know how to herd the cats. Pretty good. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We got Stewart.
Hey,
Feeling
Bo.
better, Stewart? All's well? Good.
Yep.
Great. Fantastic. We got Bill C. What? And Kathleen right above him.
Hey, Paul. Listen,
Now the pecking order is in the right order. Yes.
yeah, I was going to tell you real quick. The same instant, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm hungry. What kind of snack can I go get? I'm like, oh, there's that sandwich in the fridge I can get. That instant, that thought came through here. You said, go get a ham sandwich.
There you go.
But that's too weird to even say on here.
No, it happens a lot, but I have no idea what's going on. I'll look at a guy and I'll say Steve, making up a name, and it's Steve. And then I describe this mythical Steve and he goes, that's exactly my life. Like, it's
Yeah,
I'm not a seer. It's something else. Yeah.
that was pretty crazy.
I'm just dumbed down, just relaxing. Yeah, but it happens a lot. It happened once at this place in Canada. I was off on how I'd much rather be like going to, Peru and taking ayahuasca as an action figure. I could get a serpent tattoo, write blogs, write a book and shit. And so I went off on this, and a guy comes up to me with a serpent tattoo. He's a big ayahuasca dude, and he wrote a book on it and the whole thing. I had no idea really, but something did, which was cool.
I'll settle for a ham sandwich.
Ham sandwich, yeah. There you go. I think you need a couple of ham sandwiches. I've seen the redwood called Bill Churchman, so you may need a
The Coke is back in
stogie.
the house.
You need a stogie, one of those hoagies. I mean,
That's what I got.
Oh, good. There you go. I used to love when we were kids. We used to go to pizza parlors, and you can get veal parmesan heroes. Yeah, just stuff the shit, the marinara sauce. Yeah. They don't have them around here. No. All right, I'm gonna say hello to Sina. I know she's.
We lost you, Paul. I was trying to mute Bill. Oh, goodness. We have 1 minute left anyway, so I can't find you. There you are.
There I am. Yeah, we got Sherry, Zoe always. Yeah, very nice. Lucas, Kerry, Hawaii. We got Andy. Don O, I see a chat thing. I can't answer it right now. Deborah, always good. David B, Mr. Bitterman, out of jail, not in the hospital. Things are looking up. We got Ari. I think we're saying the right. Yes? Good. There's my man, Anish. Always a pleasure. Here's the smiling lady, Angie. There she is. Yeah, there she goes. That smile cracks like that. Just like that now. Yeah. You're going to feel muscles change in here. Yeah.
I call it the Hedderman effect.
What?
I call it the Hedderman effect.
There you go. That's a good one.
Every time I'm in a room, in a Zoom room with you.
Good. Great. Well, I'd keep coming if I were you. We all need a little laughing, eh? Jesus Christ. All right, we got Al from Las Vegas. Yeah. Let's see, who else is here? Oh, we've got Meg. There she is. It's an interesting picture. We got Ann B. We got Jimmy R. What is he saying to me today? In the last analysis, I can't even read it, but I trust it's pretty good. We got Susan K., the latte lady, Jacqueline with another, I can't see that well today, sorry. Oh, there's Joy. Yes. Yeah. You've been given a heavy responsibility to carry that name in this life, Joy. Yes, yeah. All right, we got George. George is still in his vow of silence. Yeah, very good. We got Virginia P. You lived through it, but Virginia was okay, eh? Yeah. We got donate here. Shauna, Rhoda. Thanks, Rhoda. You know, I mostly remember now to come on Tuesday, but I like getting a message from you. We got Meg and Joe. Let's see who else is there. I think that's about it. Let's see the other one. Yes, I think we've covered the base. Hey, thank you for having us here today. Hey, I'm letting you know, on Saturday, we have a Zoom at 1 o'clock. We're also going to have a Zoom at 10 o'clock with the same Zoom room. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I got to do a guest thing at a retreat in Maryland. So, but we're going to do it on our Zoom room. So it'll be the same Zoom. Yeah. It'll be up, I think, tomorrow, but it'll be there. So it'll be 10 o'clock and then at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Yes. So, okay. And everyone knows, go to Zen Bitch Slap event page. It's all there. And just a pleasure. Thank you for making my day.